What is up, everyone? Well, welcome back to my channel. Thank you again for tuning in. Certainly appreciate all the support and follows I've gotten. I really appreciate it. So I'm back today at one of my favorite little spillways I like fishing. It's really close to my job. I just got off work. I have a couple hours before it gets dark, so I'm gonna spend some time here fishing. Normally spillways are really good like the day of rain or the day after rain when the water flow is really high. We had rain a couple of days ago. The flow's coming down pretty good. But when I say a really good flow, you get a lot more water down here, and that foam, all of this right here is just covered in foam. Those are really the best days to come out here and fish at this spot. Unfortunately, because of my work schedule, today is the day I had to, the only opportunity I had to come out here. So I figured come out here. I haven't fished in about a month and a half, so I'm really itching to get a line wet. So I'm gonna come out here, just have some ultralight gear. I'll show you what I'm throwing today. Brought some really basic stuff, nothing too fancy, not too much gear. Just want to spend a couple of quick hours, see if I can get a few fish to bite. This particular spillway, over the years it's changed. We used to catch tons and tons and tons of crappie, but little ones. So we're talking 3-4 inch crappie. Well, we would catch them in the hundreds after, you know, spend an hour or two out here and catch maybe 200 or 300 fish. Now it's changed where we've caught more bass, largemouth bass in the 12 to 13 inch range, and the crappie have gotten larger than the 10 to 11 inch range, which are a lot more fun to catch, obviously, but not quite as plentiful. So the fishery seems to be getting healthy in the sense that we have a larger variety of fish and larger fish, and not choked out with a bunch of small fish. But anyway, all that being said, here we are. It's early to mid-January. Today's January 10th. It's actually we've had a really mild winter here in North Carolina, but it's still wintertime. The water temperature is going to be considerably colder than it would be in July. So fish are going to be a little bit more lethargic, being they're cold-blooded. So the presentation is going to be a little bit slower today, a little bit more deliberate, rather than just speeding things through and getting reaction strikes out of them. So we'll see how it goes. We'll try up here, maybe work a way downstream. There's another spot further down, about a quarter mile downstream, where there's a warm water inlet. So there's water coming in from this water treatment plant. So fish tend to stack up there during colder days. Today being not so cold, I'm not sure if that's gonna be so much of an issue, but we'll see how it goes. All right. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna be throwing today. That's a 1/16 ounce jig head with a speed shad. This is Bass Pro's brand. I'll show you the package. So I got two different colors. In stained water like this, it's really brown water. I like throwing this chartreuse, but on clear water, I'll throw something that's a little more natural looking, this smoke color or shad color. It has little flakes in them or whatever, and those little get a little bit of shimmer in them. Now these darker ones I was using up in the mountains fishing for smallmouth. I had a lot of success with them, but chartreuse has always been my favorite when it comes to stained water. So I'm going to start with that. Ultralight rig, 7-foot rod, 4-pound line, Series 2000 reel. I love this reel right here. It's made by Castmaster. I think I paid either 20 or 25 bucks for it. The rod itself is another 20 bucks. Very, very affordable setup. And I'll tell you folks, I've caught everything from those little tiny crappie and small panfish up to big, not big, but 22 inch redfish and big largemouth bass with this exact rod and reel. So I've used this a lot. I'm a big fan of it. I'm not sponsored by either one of these companies. This is rod's made by Shakespeare. It's just something that I found. It's very versatile, and I've had a lot of fun with it. Big fish on this setup are a blast. So we'll see how we do, but I'm gonna start off like I always do, casting up at the very foot of the spillway here. And the idea is to let it kind of drift down almost just, oh, there's a fish on, first cast. How about that? First cast, what do we get? Decent sized crappie. So again, like I was saying in my introduction to this video, the crappie here used to be about the size of its head, about this big. This is 3, maybe even 4 times as big as the crappie we used to catch here. So there you go, first cast, not bad. All right, so I don't have to worry about getting skunked. That's pretty awesome. So we'll just keep the tape right on going and see how we do. So I just let it drift with the current. I'm barely reeling, just fast enough to keep up with that slack. really the current's what's doing all the work for me. I don't want it to get bogged down at the bottom. There's a lot of rocks and snags at the bottom here, so I do want to keep it off of the actual bottom, but I don't want to reel it in so fast that the fish don't get a chance to see it and pick it up. This water is really clouded or dirty, and the water, actually, as I touched that fish, it was really, the body of it was really cold. So it's going to be very lethargic. They're not going to be moving. They're not very active. So you really have to make sure that you're presenting your bait right in the strike zone. All right, here's a little bit larger crappie. He hit right here at the foot of these rocks, and he's nice and fat. He's been eating pretty good. It's a decent sized crappie right there. Now, I have caught them bigger than this down here, but it's a good fish. He is probably, I would guess to say 10 inches, about 10-inch fish, so not bad. All right, so that was my third cast and second fish. 2 fish and 3 casts. I'd say that's successful. It's been eating really good, fairly fat right there. Nice fish. Body is extremely cold, so very lethargic. Okay, good bite. I think this is a bass. Good bite. Yep. Good fight. Nice. Oh, it's a good bass. That is a nice bass. Just hope my line holds up. Again, this is a 4-pound line, and I'm fishing around a lot of rocks here. Definitely letting my drag loose. I'm letting him tire himself out. I don't want to horse him in. As you can see, my rod is bending. It bends almost from the very handle all the way down. So it takes a lot of the strain off of the line, which is nice. It's one of the reasons I really like this rod. I've caught even bigger bass than this, but this is a very nice sized fish, especially for this time of year. Gotcha. Oh, his body's super cold. There you go. That's a nice bass. That's a good 15-inch fish right there. His body is super cold, but look at that. That is a good sized fish. Very healthy. Has been eating, sitting up here, filling up on whatever washes out of that dam. But that's a nice sized bass right there. Definitely happy. So that was like my 5th cast right there. 3 fish on five casts. Can't beat those odds right there. That's freaking awesome. As you guys know, I'm a catch and release fisherman. So let's let this nice guy go. Thank you for the fight. The water's really cold. Give a little time to revive. I did fight that. Oh, that water's super cold. I did fight him for a while. So I want to make sure I get some good oxygen in him. Let him swim off on his own. Make sure he's safe. There he goes. Thank you so much, buddy. Oh, that water's cold. Woo. All right. So, successful day so far. I've been here, been fishing for about 10 minutes. That's pretty awesome. I would even say that long. I've spent more time taking pictures than I have fishing. So, I'm already stoked. I mean, I could go home right now and I'm already happy with the results of today. But that's really cool. And that's what I was saying. I'm surprised of the quality bass we're catching out of here. We used to catch bass, but they were in the 6 to 9 inch range. And now we're catching bass that are considerably larger than fish. Thing's crappy. Yep. Definitely came on a good day. And there's supposed to be a front coming in. Oh, you got off. There's supposed to be front coming in, and I think that's part of the reason that they're so active. We had rain a couple of days ago, which got the flow. It's not as high as it can be, but we got a good amount of water coming through. And with that front coming in, fish are going to start gorging themselves because they don't know when's the next time the weather's going to be better, good enough to eat. So they're going to feed as much as they can right now to get as much energy as they can. There's a fish. There's another crappie. You can tell by the way they fight. Crappie don't fight super hard. And so far, this is the smallest fish of the day, and I think this might actually be a black crappie. Yeah, this is the smallest fish of the day so far. I'm sure I'll catch a few dinkers, but these were the exception rather than the rule years ago when I first started fishing here about 8 years ago. And now we're catching a lot larger fish. Not complaining. My buddy Jim believes it's because people come out here with cast nets and they were taking all the small fish out of here, which gives all the fish an opportunity to grow. So there's not as much competition for food. So there's less fish and more food. They're able to eat and grow and become a healthy population, which is what we have here. We have a good population of crappie and a nice population of bass. And there's plenty of catfish mixed in here, and there have been quite a number of carp caught out of here as well. So let's keep on chucking and see how it goes. Another fish on. Not sure what this is. This might be a catfish. It's fighting a little harder than a crappie, or it's a good sized crappie. Oh, I see what it is. It's kind of snagged. No, I got him in the mouth. It's just a good sized fish. Come on, open up, say ah, thank you. This one's gonna need the pliers. So he took that in pretty far. These fish are definitely feeding. Now, they're not chasing bait, they're waiting for stuff to come to them, but they're actively eating, and I think it's because of that front that's coming in later. So it's good fish, good fish, good fish. Now, if I was a person that ate fish and was taking these home, I mean, that's a nice fillet right there. You figure I've caught, what, 4 or 5 of these already? That's a meal. It's a meal for a couple of people, actually. So you could definitely sustain yourself in this little fishery by itself. But so again, it's the speed shad. Now I got snagged, so I had to break one off. So this is the second one. But that's one thing I will suggest if you're doing this type of fishing. Get a bunch of these jig heads and have a bunch of jig bodies, because you are going to lose lures. The nice thing about these, a pack of 25 of these jig heads, and these are not cheap. These are made by Eagle Claw, which is a high quality company. These are not like this cheap Walmart brand. And still, a pack of 25 was $5. Really exceptionally sharp hooks, and then the jig bodies. Now to remember how much those cost, I'll venture to say they were $5 or $6. But you know, good $10, $12 investment. You can come out here and fish all day and catch a bunch of fish. So yeah, so far very pleased. Now sun started to come up, that might warm up the water by a few degrees. Maybe not a few degrees, but maybe a fraction of a degree. That can make a difference sometimes in the activity level of fish. Yeah, it doesn't take much. Very small changes in the environment, especially when you're dealing with, there's a fish. That's crap, that's a small one. Oh, he got off. Especially when you're dealing in situations where the water's been so cold for so long. It doesn't take much to get these fish turned on, and they'll start biting. So this is the frustrating part about fishing here. Hey, it got loose. Is that there are a lot of snags. And when I caught that bass, that's exactly what happened to me. I hit that there's a big rock that lays right across back there. We've seen it when the water's really low. And as I got it loose and brought it over that rock and down into the little hole behind it, that's where I caught that bass. So if you're not getting snagged, you're not fishing where the fish are hiding. But if you know you're going to be fishing a place where there's a lot of snags, you want to fish something that you don't mind losing. I don't mind losing some of these jig heads. Not going to break the bank. Another fishy. Actually was casting downstream and slowly swimming it back. And again, he engulfed it. He took it all the way in his mouth. So, I mean, they're hungry. And he wasn't getting off. That hook's in there. So, there you go. A little bit below average for today, but a good fish considering, again, comparison to the fish we used to catch were around this size. So maybe 2.5 times the size of the fish we used to catch years ago. Fisheries definitely changed. And that happens. Could be from fishing pressure, it could be environmental differences. There's a lot of different things change on fisheries, but there could be a lot of different factors rather for the changes in fisheries. But you gotta stay consistent with them, and you'll catch them. All right, well, I thought it was a bass, but it's actually a really nice sized crappie. So there you go. I've actually caught about 3 other fish in between. Just, I know I'm gonna catch them by the dozens, and I figured it'd make no sense to come out here and tape every single one I caught. But this is a good one. I want to record that one for sure. All right, another fish on. What do we got? Another crappie. Tell you what, don't really get tired of this. Come on, buddy, come here. I know, I'm gonna let you go. Crappie are known as paper mouths, so that's really where you want to stick them, closer, further up. This membrane right here is very thin and rips very easily, and you don't want to really violently set the hook on these, or you'll rip the hook right through their lip and miss your fish. So, decent fish. I haven't even tried to change colors. I'm just staying with the chartreuse with the black jig head because it's working for me. A lot of times when I'm really successful like this and things are going really well, I'll change things up just to see if something will work even better. You just never know. You can, can never be greedy enough. But one of the things I will say about this, these speed shad bodies that my buddy Jim actually introduced me to them. He's the one who owns a cabin up in Sparta where I've done my trout and smallmouth fishing, and he's actually been in a couple of my videos. He introduced me to these, and I'll tell you, with the sensitivity of this rod, I actually can feel the vibration coming off of that body. Another fish. It's really incredible. And the thing about that is that these fish feel that vibration in the water through their lateral line. That's where they pick up vibration. This is another good crappie. So if I can feel it, and here there's a good example. You could see how much of a hole ripped through that lip, and it wasn't a really violent hook set. This is more just from fighting them in, and that's what I was talking about. That membrane will rip very easily, so you kind of have to be careful with these. You can't just muscle them in. But yeah, that vibration really seems to make a difference, especially in this stained water. When you're fishing water that's stained like this, you want a lot of vibration, you want a lot of noise and racket to attract the attention of the fish. If you have something that's very subtle, oh, I missed them. You're not really going to get as many bites. You're depending more on putting that lure directly in front of that fish, and that's a lot to ask, because not only do you have to get it the right depth, you have to get it in the right location. So this actually calls the fish from a little further distance away. Just a little tip for you guys. I think it's a little dinker. You never know, they fool you when it's cold like this. They don't really fight very hard. This might actually be a catfish. Oh no, it's a bass. Smaller than that first one, but I will take it. Bass number 2. Whoa, stay out of the rocks, stay out of the rocks. Again, I'm gonna let him tire himself out. He's hooked right on the top of the mouth. That's exactly where I want him, right in the bone. He's not going anywhere. He wasn't getting off. Ooh, he was stuck good. Yeah, he was not getting off. So one of the situations where you see where the hook set's at, if you know you got a good hook set and you're fishing with really light line, it's best to go ahead and play that fish out. Let him tire himself out. Just be careful of your line. Make sure you're not rubbing against any rocks instead of trying to muscle him in, because man, he was not getting off. because it's you're gonna lose more fish if you try and muscle them in on light gear. I like fishing light gear a lot, and I've learned that lesson over the years. There you go. Smaller largemouth bass. He's probably in 11-inch range, but we'll take it. Oh, fat crappie. This guy is fat, and he was greedy. He inhaled that jig. That jig is way in there. Still get it out without harming him, but man, he was greedy. He really wanted that. There you go. It's a nice thing about having these hooks right here. Now again, I'm not sponsored by anyone, but Eagle Claw makes these brand is called Laser Sharp, and they are super sharp right out of the package. And it makes a difference with these types of fish because you don't have to really set the hook in order to get a good hook set. Very next cast. Oh, I think there's a bass. Oh, that's just a big crappie. That's a piggy. Come here, piggy. Oh, that is a fat one. Good God. Now that's the biggest crappie of the day right there. That is a fat fish. Now, that's a meal right there. So he's, I'd venture to say, close to 12 inches. It's a good sized fish. Good fish. Okay, before I head out of here, I want to show you guys what I was using today, okay? We got Eagle Claw 1/16 ounce Laser Sharp ball jig heads. I went with the white and the black, two basic colors. Another color I like is chartreuse heads. You can also do unpainted, where it's just the lead, or red is another popular color, but these two and chartreuse are my favorite. Pack of 25 was $5. It was literally $4.99. Now these are a little bit different than most normal jigs, or in a sense that the hook extends a little further out over here. Most jig heads start their bend right about here and curl up. This goes a little further back, so fish to strike shorter will get stuck, and it's a very sharp hook. I mean, it just that right there is getting my skin. But it's also really nice to combine this with this particular body because it is a longer body bait, so the hook sits further back. And again, these are the speed shads that I was using. Let's put this down. You can get these at Bass Pro Shops. You can get them online through their website or at the stores. These are the two colors I was fishing. Had a lot of success with chartreuse. Chartreuse is my favorite color in stained water. Clear water, you want to go with more natural colors. That in combination with my ultralight rig over there, 4-pound line, 7-foot rod, ultralight gear, a lot of fun. Especially those bass and those bigger crappie are a lot of fun. It's sporty, you know. It's a lot. You're gonna still be able to land them, but it's just more of a challenge, and you feel the fish more. You can come out here with a very heavy rod and just crank these things in, but you won't even know you have a fish on the end of the line. So this is a little bit more fun. All right, so I'm gonna head out of here. I've been here about an hour and a half, and I've caught probably about 20 crappie and 2 bass. Very successful time on the water, a lot of fun. Definitely needed this. It's been about a month and a half since I've been fishing. So I took the opportunity today, got off work, and decided to come over here into the spillway and just feel something on the end of the line. So thank you guys very much for tuning in. I hope you learned something. Hope I entertained you. I definitely had fun sharing this with you. Jim, my buddy out there, thank you so much for the introduction to those speed shad, because they are slaying fish. I've caught everything from rock bass, largemouth bass, crappie, and my first ever smallmouth bass on the exact same setup I was using today. So Jim, thank you so much. Everyone else out there, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Tight lines. See you on the next fishing adventure.